Steve, quick of the fixtures. Dagenham Redbridge again in the same time in the space of a month. How does that affect the approach to this one or not?
It probably doesn't affect the approach, but obviously when you play, a team very close, then there's quite a few reminders from the game, I suppose. Sometimes that can work for you, and sometimes that can work against you. It's just what's happened with the fixtures, with playing in cup competitions and them doing well in the FA Cup. So it's just a quirk of fate, really.
Lewis Young was in temporary charge, wasn't he, when you last played, and now he's been given the job full time. Has he made many changes, do you think, in that time?
In terms of personnel,
In terms of the way they're playing the football,
I think Dagenham Redbridge have always been a decent team anyway, and I wouldn't want to go and say that one manager's done something better than the other, because what you always have to remember is the manager that was doing the job before it. So I'm not sure I really want to comment on what they're doing, whether they're doing something better or whether they're doing something worse, really, because I just don't feel as though that's any of my business. And I think that sometimes managers get asked those questions and then they give the answer what they think is the honest answer, but what happens is ends up being a slight on one of them. So I'm sure you'll forgive me for not making too much of a comment about what they're doing now to what they did before, really, because the previous manager had done a good job with them as well. So that's not my concern, thankfully.
it has happened quite a few times, hasn't it, across the season, where you tend to be playing sides quite soon after they've got that possible bounce.
Yeah, that's right. It happens though, doesn't it? So there's not a lot you can do about it. So as I've said, you're better off worrying about your own club and your own team, because normally if you concentrate on that, that's enough to worry about anyway.
I mean, if you're a Forest Green Rovers fan with a very long memory, you might remember him actually playing one game on loan with Forest Green Rovers. So there's actually a minute connection with Lewis and Forest Green Rovers.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't know that. Yeah, I wouldn't know that. I definitely wouldn't know that.
But going back to the game you've already played, a 1-1 draw, a game you did dominate and then had to rescue.
Yeah, I mean, I think what they've done is they've sat in, they've got organised. Then obviously, when the game opens up in around about the 70th minute, it become a little bit ding dong. They score a goal, certainly in the last game. And funny enough, their game against York was like that a little bit the weekend. They made it very, very difficult for York. Then got a goal from a set play. They've worked obviously a lot on restarts. Whenever there's free kicks, it'll go into your box. Corners, it'll go in your box. So those things we need to be wary of. And they've got a few individuals that can, on any God-given day, give teams trouble in this league. So, yeah, we know that. It's about us focusing ourselves, really, and getting back to where we are at our best.
So one of those games, again, when you perhaps might have to be a bit more patient.
Maybe. You never know how the game's going to pan out. You can do as much work as you want on the training ground, and you can be in total control of a game. I only have to look at Saturday, when you're totally in control of a game, and then all of a sudden there's one clearance, one corner, and it can end up in the back of your net. And we've got to make sure we're normally pretty good at that. Set plays and all that's not been an issue for us. We've been very, very good throughout the season. Maybe because there was a few changes, certainly in our little setup, really defensively, that caused us a problem. And if you lose a marker, it can end up in the back of your net, and then all of a sudden it becomes a different game. So we just have to play the game that we know we can play, and if we do that, then we'll be fine.
And back in league action, there's still that 17-game unbeaten run, isn't there?
Yeah, of course there is. Yeah, and it's not easy to do that. It's not easy, and we're very proud of it, and we want to fight really, really hard to keep it.
And going back to that last game, I mean, goals in the 90th and 95th minute, I guess the advice would be to Rovers fans, no matter whatever's happening, don't leave early.
Well, look, at the end of the day, what you can do is when you're a goal down and things are not going right for you, if you haven't got a good team spirit, if you haven't got a couple of subs from the bench who might be able to change it for you, don't ever give in. If you give in, you're done. So don't give in. Until the ref blows a whistle, don't give in. And we haven't done that. And there would have been times, and I think to try and get that into the mentality of a team is incredibly difficult. When you think about what's happened here in 2 years before, the turnaround is massive. We don't think we have any divine right to win any game, especially after the history of the last couple of years. We don't have a divine right, and we've never gone into it thinking we're going to win or having a divine right. We've gone into the game to be positive and to try to win every game, and that won't change. We're fine with where we are, and just a little bit of luck on some occasions. That would be handy if we could get a little bit of that.